Hello, my name is Liz Rowlinson, a property journalist, and I'm here to do a Place in the Sun Revisited episode. You might have just watched the episode with Gay and Steve, who have moved to France. The premise was Gay and Steve had a budget of £100,000 to move to Finisterre, the westernmost part of lovely Brittany. And they were looking for a full-time move. So are we going to hear exactly what happened next? It's been a very, very tumultuous year, and the filming was done last summer. So we're going to hear there's been a lot that's happened in between. So hi, Gay and Steve. Happy New Year. Good to see you. I'm admiring your lovely beams in your new property, which we're going to hear about. But to tell us, what a year ago, before you appeared on the program, what were you doing? What was you were retired, were you?
No, I was about to retire from Uppingham School as a drama teacher. And we were sort of looking for something different, a new, adventurous.
Yeah, a challenge.
A challenge.
We had been in Uppingham for about 40 years and it was the same old. So we were ready for a challenge, and we've been thinking about moving perhaps to Italy or France for about 5 years. So it wasn't something we did on the spur of the moment.
It wasn't a knee jerk, was it?
No. So Steve retired in March.
Yeah.
And we moved out in, I think it was August.
Okay.
Of the following year.
The following year.
Yes.
So
going back a bit first, I mean, it's funny because often Italy and France are it's never sort of generally France or Spain. It's either Italy or France are often competing for buyers, because there are similarities. And what made you sway towards France?
Because of, well, it was the
location,
the closeness, the ability to get on a ferry and be, with my daughter who's still in London. She could get on a ferry or a plane or a train and be here in relatively very small time. But that's changed.
Yes.
But that was some of the thinking, wasn't it?
Yeah, so family and friends could
get
over quite easily, and we could get to them quite easily.
Yeah.
Sure.
And we'd spoken to an awful lot of people about Brittany as well, who'd been, and they really, they said go for it, didn't they?
Yeah, one or two people that we know, are friends of friends and acquaintances that already live in France. In the same situation, had said go for France. It's just
and
logistically easier.
Uppingham is twinned with Codebec, which is in Normandy, and we'd been, so we got a flavour and what have you, and thought, well, yeah.
And so before coming to Property Hunt.
Sorry, you blipped there, Liz. So,
had you been to Brittany before? Had you been on holiday?
Not Brittany, no. I've been to and visited central France for a few festivals many years ago, and loved the culture of music and dance that France has to offer a bit more than England does.
And we looked at the map, and wherever you are in Brittany, you're not too far away from the coast, are you?
No.
We're about half an hour or 40 minutes, whereas in the Midlands, in Rutland, it takes a couple of hours to get, and
a traffic queue
and what have you, which is not, it doesn't happen here at all.
And also the airports are fairly close.
The airport's 40 minutes away.
And with our daughter in London, the train link is quite easy. By the tunnel.
So that all sort of fitted in then.
because Finisterre is it's often called the end of the world. I mean, it's the western, the rugged bit. I mean, it looks absolutely beautiful. Like I would love to go walking around there, or discovering all the wonderful little sort of fishing ports. I mean,
so would we, Liz.
It is a walker's and a cyclist's paradise.
It is,
honestly,
yeah,
it's beautiful.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, it's very varied. You know, you could be in a forest 1 minute and the next minute you're out on top of a moor, and you know, it's very varied.
People often say that it's like Cornwall with sun. Do you see that sort of?
It's very much like Cornwall in the summer.
Yes.
And it's very much like Wales in the winter with a little bit extra rain.
It's been chucking it down for the past week or two, and we had snow yesterday.
Oh, so it does sound a bit like the UK right now.
It does, yeah, home from home.
But in the summer, it's glorious.
Yeah. So in the land we have a duck pond at the moment.
Which wasn't there when we looked at the house.
Any ducks?
No.
No. Actually, there's very few animals around, isn't there?
No. Well, I think they all hibernate for the winter.
Yeah.
Lots of birds.
Yeah, I was going to say it's famous for bird watching, as
Lots.
But so what made you approach Place in the Sun to be, you know, what made you want to go on TV to sort of see your property search?
We kept watching the programs
and
as
we
a bit of a hobby.
Well, we'd like someone to take us around and show us what's what, and eventually they did.
we had been to the Birmingham Exhibition Centre a year before we went to the Manchester one.
Okay.
And we saw people queuing up to audition,
and we thought, let's go for it.
All right, well, we'll audition in Manchester. So we did, and yes,
and that was in the March, and then you went out in the July.
Yep, end of July.
Yes, yeah.
It was
they looked after us, didn't they? We stayed in Moor Lane, a lovely hotel
with a lovely view.
Yeah, all meals paid for, all travel.
It was much better than anticipated.
We're going to get a queue of people now trying to apply. Now you're selling.
No, the crew were really lovely as well. They were really nice.
Yeah, it was a very nice experience.
Yeah.
Right, and clearly a successful one in your case, because you ended up putting an offer in for property 5, didn't you?
Yeah, which was odd because the property 5 was nothing really that we asked for, was it? We didn't want open plan. we didn't want to be away from a town, and we are.
We chose something that wasn't on our bucket list at all.
That's often the way.
The thing for me was the land. I love gardening and being outside, and I got a traditional little bit of garden with this. Also, I've got a woodland area, which is about 2 acres of, or wood. Just under, of wood. Which I've spent during the lockdown a lot of happy hours clearing brambles, cutting wood down, clearing the area, mowing when it was before the winter. Yeah. So I've had a lovely time.
I haven't done that. I didn't do anything. I let Gay do it because...
You let me?
Well,
you didn't want to do it.
I'll rephrase that. I sit back and watch Gay do it because... You can't sit down for 5 minutes, can you? Really?
I have a passion for the outdoors.
Yeah, she's hyperactive. Yeah. She's got a passion for the outdoors.
And I've got a project that if I could possibly, if we stay here long enough, to replant trees in that woodland area. I mean, that's my plan. Wow. I have looked into government grants for this, which there are for farmers, for planting coppices and etc. But I don't think there are any grants at the moment for individuals. But I'm looking into it. It's my project.
Oh, it sounds like you're getting into the local landscape.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
so what? So you, I think the filming's. So after you came home, you put the offer in, had it accepted. How long did was the purchase plain sailing after that?
Well, no.
I'll let Steve explain this
first
one.
of
It
all,
got very complicated.
Yeah, our buyer pulled out for our house
in Britain,
which was reliant on buying this property in France. So we were still hopeful for another buyer. Meantime, there was a French couple who put an offer in for the French property.
Oh,
So
gosh.
oh well, that was taken off the market. That was that. But how many months later? A few months later, was it 3 or 4 months?
Remember.
About 4 months later, the property was back on the market, and I noticed that one day, and that very same day, we got an offer for our house in England.
It all happened in a morning.
And that very same day, our estate agent in France rang us to say the property was in France was back on. So it was very, very strange. It all happened within an hour.
Well, yeah, honestly, we couldn't believe it. One Monday morning, we'd got a buyer for our house, and we were able to go ahead with buying this again.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So that was December? When was that? December?
Yes, I think
was
so.
it December?
I
can't remember.
Yeah.
But it was all systems.
End of last year.
Yeah. And then COVID.
Yeah.
So as soon as we
solicitors, bank man,
everything,
people were just not available. Nothing was.
Everything
very slowed down.
So this was January, February. In the beginning of last 2020. I'm saying last year.
Yeah, I think March was the lockdown, wasn't it?
Our buyer for our house in Britain was in Australia.
She was in Australia.
So she was having problems getting over.
She was a nurse in the outback, and this was her last
placement, really.
Last placement, yes. But she couldn't. Everything
home.
shut down in Australia. She couldn't get back, and so that was intermittent communication with her
and buying of the house.
And still to this day, I don't think she has moved into our empty house in Uppingham.
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of
the travel restrictions. So when did you actually when did you actually move to?
We moved to August the 5th.
We moved over here on the 5th of August and stayed at an Airbnb for a week, and the actual sale at the notaires was on the 10th,
which we had to be there for.
So we had a whole week to look at the area, find our feet, and there are a few stories about that week, if you would like to hear them.
Well, yes.
Go on.
We had a week of driving around and looking and finding out and what have you. And one thing I made sure of before we moved was have the car serviced and a new exhaust.
And
MOT'd. So one day we decided to visit Laz, where the house is, the village.
Yeah.
And we had a bit of a picnic, didn't we? And then we got back in the car and it wouldn't start.
So we were in France. We'd been in France about 3 days. We knew nobody. We had no contact. The AA don't cover you. We were just out. We'd had a 48-hour cover breakdown, but we were just out of that.
But we were insured. But
and there was nobody around.
So I couldn't start the car. And so Gay got out of the car and started shouting, "Help."
No, I didn't.
Well, what did you say? What did you say?
I didn't start shouting help like a maniac. I saw some people going into a house which looked like a family gathering. And I ran over. I couldn't remember the word for help in French because I was so sort of uptight. Yeah. But unfortunately, the grandmother there was a bit of a linguist, and she could speak Latin, French,
Breton.
Spanish. She was learning Breton, etc. And I was able to talk to her in English, and she called a breakdown company for us. And the whole family came out onto the green and looked at the car and gesticulated about different things.
Yeah, meantime, we were having coffee and what have you.
Our inauguration to the village, the whole village knows that these new English people must be mad. They've come in a car that's not roadworthy.
No, but
and can't speak the language.
Well,
so
it turned out it was the battery. We had to get a new battery, and it cost a lot of money.
Yes, and because although we'd got a French bank account, which we'll tell you about later, I didn't actually realise that you should always carry your checkbook with you, because the breakdown company will only take cash or a cheque. They won't take a card. So we've got a card.
How old school.
They took €100 check.
Luckily,
no, cash, sorry.
Cash. Luckily, I'd drawn out some money the day before, but if I hadn't got that money, we would have been in we would have had a problem.
Yeah. So that was one. The next the other day we had to go to for a walk round for the house, which is going around with the estate agent and the owners, present owners, looking at the place, seeing it's what we're going to buy, and yes, everything's in place. And so we got up early for that day, and
from the Airbnb.
Yes, from the Airbnb. And for some reason, the nice lady who we were staying with had put the shutters down.
The electronic shutters.
The electronic shutters.
So we were actually shut in this house.
Oh gosh!
And we couldn't find the electrical controls. I think we had just rushed out to work because she was a nurse and did early hours, and she had forgotten to take the shutters up, and she'd gone out the back door, which we knew nothing about. We didn't know.
So we couldn't get out.
So we missed the walk
round. And when she came back, she did tell us where the controls were, which were behind a pillar, hidden, Yeah. But there you go. That's a couple of them.
There was one other thing.
What was that?
This is all in 2 weeks. When we did finally get into the house and we were doing a little bit of clearing rubbish in the garden, Steve got bitten.
Oh yes, I got bitten.
And his arm came up like a balloon.
Yeah.
And we had to find a doctor.
So I had to go to the doctors, and the doctor said, "Oh yes, an infection." So
tetanus jab, antibiotics.
Antibiotics. So it didn't put me in a good frame of mind.
So
bitten by what?
Don't know, but it looked quite lethal, actually.
We don't know.
Don't know.
We were told that it could be something like a hornet or even a type of spider, but I don't know.
Don't know.
It was certainly worse than
I think that was when you got me chopping wood or something.
Well, I don't know. I dragged
Never
you out
wood then. Clear.
Anyway,
you're vindicated. So you've had some rocky initiations into life in France, but I mean, you got. This was you're saying was it August or September you moved over?
August 10th, we actually moved into the house.
Yeah.
Because you, as you said, the sales and the purchase was a bit delayed. I mean, were you at the back of your mind? Were you getting worried about the Brexit deadline and being sort of settled in France by the end of the year?
Yes.
Yes.
The Brexit deadline, which has just gone. Yeah, that was a bit worrying, but we sort of knew that if we got there before then, we have until July this year
to do paperwork,
register, etc. So we're not rushing, there's a few other things,
and also the time we actually moved over, there was a window when one lockdown had finished, and we didn't know it, but another lockdown
was imminent.
Pending,
we actually got over within a 2-week window, so to speak.
You've had luck on your side to some extent, definitely.
Yes.
To some extent.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, do you love the house? Have you, was there been any sort of nasty surprises with the house, or is it, do you love it even more?
Well, now it's winter. The house is letting us know its little secrets. Like there's a few leaks, but nothing important really. What else?
No, I love the house. This is me. I'm quite happy.
Yeah.
The bedrooms, because this is a house where the bedrooms are in the loft, have been converted. I had to get used to the noise. You're very obviously in the roof. You can hear the rain and the birds clattering around. So getting used to that. The bedrooms are a wee bit small, but I mean, the rest I really love. We have a wonderful view at the back of the house in what I call the like the second sitting room that could also be a bedroom, but it looks out on a wonderful view over the Black Mountains.
I think that's probably in the program, isn't it? The panoramic view from Gaze Wood. Yeah,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
What else? I have a much bigger space than I did in my other house. Yeah, I love it. I can't. Steve finds it a little bit difficult with his hi-fi setup, but we won't go into that one.
No.
So we've had a few sort of
miseries
about that.
Issues, yes.
Yeah.
Because the stairs go off the main living room, as they do in a lot of French houses. Yeah. Obviously, hi-fi fanatics wouldn't like that, with the sound disappearing up into the room.
It's not that. It is that, yeah. And the room is just too large.
It's not too large. It's lovely.
Yeah. Okay. It's really hard to heat.
It takes more to heat.
It takes more to heat. So
it's not hard, it just takes more.
No, yeah. We bought some more oil for the oil central heating, and we filled it to the top, and we just switched it on.
Yeah, there's no point in being frugal about your
keeping warm.
Yeah.
No.
So but we have three sources. We have the wood burner, which I'm still trying to master. The central heating, which is oil, and paraffin heater, which is
very modern paraffin.
Highly technical paraffin heater. It's not like the old ones where you've got a wick and there's no wick and it doesn't smell, and it's all timed. It's good.
But all these little things that we found out about, we've had a lot of help from the two couples that we did meet at our the 2 sessions we had at our French lessons
before it was closed down.
So they sort of befriended us and helped us a lot, like telling us about the fuel, and
they've been lovely.
They
invited us for Christmas, didn't they?
We had Christmas dinner with one couple for the whole day.
That's nice.
And
not the whole day because of the curfew. We will still have a curfew, which is from 8 o'clock to 6. Yeah. But it was nice.
And the other couple invited us over for New Year's Eve. So Boxing Day, sorry. And the original couple, the first couple that invited us for Christmas dinner, came over on New Year's Eve as well. So we can't complain. Yeah. We have been looked after, and we've met some nice people.
Yeah.
And the locals have been very friendly. They smile, and they know a little English, and I know a little French, and we sort of
well, we think they're smiling through the mask. That's another thing. Everyone's got a mask on, so it's very
I go to the Mairie quite often to post letters, because it's the post office as well, and they've helped us photocopy stuff for our CPAM, which is the insurance.
Insurance,
the health insurance.
Yes, which we have to sign up for.
Yeah.
Yes.
But, we're still waiting for that to come through. And we've been waiting for a few months, but nothing is rushed here.
No, and there's the pandemic clogging up the system as well.
Yes.
So yes.
So and people keep saying to me, just don't panic. Just chill out. So
that's the whole point about being in France, isn't it? With your new lifestyle. I mean, it's curtailed, and I know you're frustrated that you haven't been able to enjoy some of all that wonderful sort of community village sort of activities that France is so loved for.
Yes.
But I mean, it sounds like you've at least managed to get to know a couple of people, and you know, it will just get better, won't it, as hopefully life will open up, you know, halfway through the year or whenever.
Yeah.
Well, one of the main reasons I liked this area was for the festivals. We have a big chateau that is famous for a jazz festival, and it's only about 3 miles away. All these festivals, music and dance festivals, which are not happening, the classes are not happening, is a little bit disappointing. But what can you do? We just got to bear with it.
Yeah. But the 6-week lockdown was, that was hard.
The first lockdown.
The 6-week lockdown, yeah.
You have to remember your mask, obviously, but you need a letter,
attestation,
a form of attestation for
in
every
case you
journey.
stop. Yeah. It's much more rigorous over here than in the UK.
But you know, I'm sure the rates in Brittany are not. Brittany was where there was this very bad illegal rave on New Year's Eve, wasn't there?
You know,
luckily it was
not near us.
Not near us.
You weren't there, I hope.
I might have been if it was a bit nearer.
No.
But apart from that, yes, it's you know, the rates are not so bad, and I'm sure that you know, you'd rather be there than back in the UK right now, wouldn't you?
I personally would. I mean, you know, as I said before, I haven't really noticed there's been any problems because I've been able to get out and about in my woodland area and garden. I'm as happy as a little troll. For
me, on reflection, I think I would prefer to sit out COVID in familiar surroundings.
Okay.
It's. Although we brought everything, which was another thing. Do we take this? Do we take that? We just brought the lot over.
That was actually,
which was a good idea.
On reflection, that was a very good idea with lockdown, because there are no shops to buy anything with the lockdown. There were, apart from the supermarket.
And we don't really know where the shops are really to buy these things. So we had a lot of things in store, you know. But yeah, I would have preferred, I think, to sit out COVID.
And I would prefer to be here.
Oh well.
I told you the disagreement.
50-50 there.
Yeah.
I mean, what is your nearest? You mentioned an airport. Is it Rennes that's the nearest big town or city?
Well, Brest is probably.
Yes,
it's probably the nearest.
And it used to be Flybe.
We came,
but they're not anymore.
We came out with Place in the Sun from Birmingham to Brest.
So it's a 35-minute plane ride.
Gosh, that would have been. So where will you? Can you fly from Brest back to the UK still?
I'm not sure about that.
Don't know. We're not sure. I think it's Manchester or something like that. But Brest is only 40 minutes away from us, you know. So that, you know, as we say, that was part of the thinking, you know, these
the convenience.
There, you know.
We came over for the house sale, obviously by car, to Roscoff and drove down, and it literally was about 3/4 of an hour. Via Quelquot, which is Hugoat, spelt Hugoat, but it's Quelquot.
Yes,
which was a lovely drive down.
Yeah.
So, you know, and the only way we haven't been is by train, which our daughter will try when she comes from London when eventually lockdown finishes.
Yeah.
So will she go to Paris and then get the TGV to cross?
Yeah.
Possibly, possibly. Yeah, at the moment she's in London, and I wouldn't.
She's in tier 4, I think.
Yeah, we are. I'm in London, and it's pretty grim. But
she's in Bermondsey. So.
Well,
I'm not a million miles from there either.
So, there you go. There you go.
But But no, I mean, as you say, you've got the option of, if you really don't like the idea of flying in the new world we live in, and once you can, you've got, or the flights are less frequent, you've got the ferry and
Yes.
the train.
Yes.
You're right. I think that's going to be a key factor, because airlines are not going to get back to normal for quite a while.
Not for a while.
No. Oh, so there are a few things that, you know, we could sort of say that we would recommend if you're coming out, which would be, for me, it's bring as much as possible.
Yeah.
Because if you don't know the area, you don't know where to buy things, etc. So all, you know, electrical equipment, as long as you've brought adapters with you.
Yeah, for the French plugs.
Oh yes.
Even things like as silly as shoe polish and
we brought everything.
Yeah, we brought the lot.
Do they have Amazon Prime there?
Yes.
But there's always that, presumably.
There's always that if you've got a French bank account.
You must have one by now.
Yes, we had one before we set sail, didn't we?
Yeah, the things that you really must have before you even get here is a French bank account. You must open it first.
Yeah, you must have a rib, what they call a rib, numbers from it, and
a money exchanger if you're not going to do it through the bank.
Yeah, that opens doors. Yeah.
I just brought all personal things with me, like literally shampoos and all my little likes that I knew I might not find here, you know, on a personal basis. I even bought extra clothes, you know, like wellies and all sorts of, you know, things I might need that I didn't need in Britain.
Yes, very wise.
Just got to think ahead a bit.
Yeah.
But
so
and a French, you need a French telephone number as well.
Our French telephone number. So we quickly got a pay-as-you-go.
Pay-as-you-go,
you know, purely for the bank, because the bank don't like an English telephone number.
No. Okay. So you'll be sorting out a few of the practicalities, sorting out your residency, etc.
Yeah.
But when things, supposing things are opened up this summer for you, what's going to be top of the list, apart from having family over? Maybe where are you going to explore? What are you going to do?
Well, we're going to explore the coast, aren't we?
The coastline. Yeah. Apparently the coastline part is lovely. Beautiful. in South Brittany.
Yeah, and maybe explore further into the interior. You know.
There's lots and lots of places to see. You know, with historical sites of the boulders in Quelquat. Well, there's hundreds of places.
There are
chateaus.
Yeah.
The chateau near us, Treves, has got a wonderful grounds and gardens.
Yeah.
Even though we did actually bomb it.
We didn't bomb.
We did bomb it.
No. The English bombed it in World War II.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. We're English as well.
You're English.
We're not French yet.
I think, right. I think the Americans did as well.
Yes. So unfortunately, the actual chateau is a bit sad looking, but they're renovating it. But the grounds
inside, it's not sad looking outside. It's looking very nice outside.
Yeah.
Well, there's lots to do, isn't there? You can explore other areas. You know, you've got you know, going south a bit to sort of into the there's the Vendée is a fabulous. You've got so much to do potentially.
Yes. Unfortunate. Sorry.
Oh, your friend lives in the Loire area, so we hope to have a holiday down there.
Unfortunately, because of Brexit, we have to apply for a visa to go beyond France, like, you know, or into Germany, Italy, or what have you, because our
passports are British.
Passports are British.
Yeah.
So we have to apply, because even though we're in the European community, we will have to apply, because we're British, for visas to go outside France.
That's all right.
That I didn't realise, because although you've retained lots of the rights of
Yes.
that you wouldn't do if you moved over this week.
Yeah.
Freedom of, it's not quite freedom of movement, is it?
No, it not. No.
But I think years and years and years ago, in our parents' time, you had to have a visa to travel anyway. I mean, it's not that difficult.
Yeah.
No.
I just feel it's unfortunate about the people who have got two properties, one in England, one in France, and this
A limit of stay.
The 90-day thing, that they won't just be able to come for 4 months in the summer. And no, exactly.
No.
Yeah.
There are lots of sites to keep us updated on information. There are
one that you'd name that would be useful.
Oh, is it called Connections?
Yeah.
I think it's called Connections.
French Connection.
Connections. Yeah. French Connections. Yeah, French Connection with an X. Yeah, and
yes, I've
there's
seen
always,
that,
there is the Facebook Brittany.
Yeah. Oh, have you joined that and you get lots of useful contacts?
Yeah, I yes.
Right.
Lots of gripes and what have you.
You get lots of
yes, there's the upside and the downside of Facebook groups.
Yeah.
But the best information and the best help we've had is by word of mouth from other expats, really.
Yes.
There is a lot of paperwork involved, and you get very overwhelmed with it at the beginning, but once you realize that just take one bit of it at a time and things don't go too fast, and not to panic. Yeah,
because that was what was
talk about panic. There's another little story.
Oh.
We went to register to start the process for registering the car.
Re-registering the car.
For which we need passports and all sorts of ID documentation. Yeah. And when we got to the building to register, I found that we'd lost our passports.
You'd lost the passports?
I didn't lose it.
Which was she
misplaced it.
She looked in her bag and I think the lady took pity on us and gave us the certificate we wanted.
Luckily,
but
luckily,
then we had to go and what?
Well, luckily, I had photocopies of the passports as well with me.
That's
which is another thing that you ought to do before you even come out to the country.
Yeah.
Yes.
Many photocopies of your birth certificate, marriage certificate, and passport.
Yeah.
And have them in your handbag. Have them there.
Yeah. I even had to share my passport to get my my top up on my phone, didn't I?
Yes. Initially to top up the phone.
Yeah. But we were advised to go to the gendarmes, see the gendarmes about our passport. And they let us in eventually, and we tried to explain that we have no passport. And they said, well, what do you want us to do about
Gallic shrug.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah.
They recommended that we go to our local mairie, and the mairie would have a form to say that we are reporting our passports missing.
Yes. So we went.
So we trotted off to the mairie
for the form,
which they're very, very helpful here, and they didn't know what form the police were talking about.
Didn't exist.
Oh, no.
So we got a letter from the mayoress saying
that we do live here.
We live here. We've been here for the past. And about a week, was it a week later?
After about 3 sleepless nights, we decided we better inform the embassy that, whoever you inform, the embassy consulate. And I thought, well, I better have a last look round. So I looked round, went to the car and found them in the car. Down
in between the brake and the seat. It was they were just fallen out in the dark.
But they were in a black little wallet and couldn't be seen initially, so we didn't find them. That's why we couldn't. But such a relief.
Yeah.
That was that.
Yeah, it's been great. Yeah.
So far, it's been quite calm.
Oh well, it sounds like you're getting to grips with all those aspects of French life that you kind of expected might be. It's like kind of like that.
Yeah.
And
the
you're taking the rough with the smooth, although it's
the actual move itself, the physical move, went like clockwork, which was with a removal firm that the agent here in France recommended, that does England to France trips only. And I think they arrived about half an hour after we arrived at the house here.
With the keys.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you couldn't get actually better planning than that.
No.
Okay, what company was it?
Are we allowed to say?
Are we allowed to say?
Yes.
Yeah, I just if we recommend a good service.
What are they? What's the name of the company?
I've forgotten. I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name.
That's all right. I just thought
it'll come back.
It'll come back.
But it will be. It'll be. I'm sure we can take lots of useful tidbits from. We'll have to follow you up in 6 months and find out all the wonderful festivals and things that you've hopefully had a chance to. Your French lessons will have resumed. You'll be experts by then, and all sorts.
Yeah.
So, but look, thank you so much. I mean, it's any final piece of advice to people who might be watching this and thinking, actually, why not?
We were lucky in one way and not in another, that we didn't have a lot of family to leave behind. So we don't actually, miss family. If you've got, grandchildren, etc., think carefully whether you want to be not so near them. I think that's, most of our friends like traveling and will come and see us. So, and also I personally have done a lot of Zooming with friends and kept in touch with my dance group. We have a dance session once a week on Zoom, which sounds
brilliant. Your traditional dancing.
Yes. And we dress up sometimes. We dressed up for Christmas, and it's quite weird. And it's very niche interest, but it means I feel as if I haven't really gone very far away from them.
No, Zoom has opened up opportunities like this, so that's been one of the upsides of this terrible situation. But thanks again. And
one thing, Liz, I'd advise people to go to the dentist.
Oh yeah. Oh, yes, for medical care here, when you go to try and get a doctor, which wasn't too difficult for us, but I'm told, it's not always easy to find a doctor, have your physical medical record with you. They do ask for it. And also make sure you've perhaps been to the dentist and had any dental work in Britain first, because dentists are very hard to find. We haven't found one yet. Because they're booked up.
Right. Okay, good advice. No, I hadn't. Nobody's ever mentioned that before. The shortage of dentists. Maybe there's a gap in the market there.
I think Brittany is a little bit harder because there are fewer people and fewer sort of professionals set up here. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, look, thanks again, both of you, and I hope it goes really well. Thank you. I hope you're going to watch your episode and have a glass of Breton cider or something. And
I don't know if I'm looking forward to it or not.
Right. Well, I'm sure. It's a great episode, and thanks again for sharing that. And I hopefully we can keep in touch and see where you are in 6 months or a year's time.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Liz.
Bye.
Au revoir.
Bye. Thank you.
Stay where you are.